Selamat malam dan selamat datang semua kepada semua para pelajar dan terutamanya kepada kita punya guest
I know how to share the slide.
Tuan Ramli Tuan Haji Ramli yang seumur hidupnya daripada muda sampailah pencen dan sekarang jiwanya tu tetap engineer tetap jurutera dulu, kini dan selamanya jadi pengalaman guest speaker kita selama 2 tahun itu sangat-sangat berharga dan banyak pengalaman dan pengajaran yang kita boleh ambil daripada sejarah hidup Cik Ramli ni okey. Sebab kita anda semua para pelajar mungkin akan melalui jalan yang sama, mungkin akan daripada start kerja sampai pencen mungkin akan engineer, and then ataupun mungkin juga kita tak selamanya, mungkin tengah-tengah tu ada jadi entrepreneur, dia terus dah tukar maneuver daripada jurutera dia dah jadi businessman okey. Jadi tak kisah kita tak tahu masa depan tu macam mana, tapi apa yang kita boleh ambil pengajaran dan pelajaran daripada orang yang telah melalui jalan sebagai seorang engineer ni sangat-sangat banyak and then bayangkan 32 tahun punya pengalaman. Okay, kita akan dengar sharing selama lebih kurang 1 jam untuk kita jadikan panduan lah. Okay, jadi sebagai engineer dia punya core tu tetap sama. Core kerja dia tetap sama, cuma mungkin suasana dah berubah, teknologi dah berubah, tapi core the disiplin tetap sama dan masih lagi applicable. Jadi malam ni marilah sama-sama kita dengar betul-betul. Okey. Kita hayati dan kalau ada soalan just take note dulu di hujung sesi nanti, boleh tanya jarang sangat kita dapat peluang yang macam ni, and then jadi para pelajar semua, anda sangat bertuah. Tak semua orang ada peluang yang macam ni, jadi dengarkan betul-betul, jangan segan-segan nak bertanya okey. Kalau ada soalan hujung nanti boleh tanya. Okey, jadi tanpa membuang masa sekali lagi saya menjemput dengan rasminya Encik Ramli sebagai guest speaker kita untuk share lah pengalaman hidupnya, journey dia sebagai seorang jurutera selama 32 tahun. Okey, dipersilakan.
Okay, terima kasih Saudara Farhan. Okey, bismillah. Saya mainkan ni kejap. Okey, boleh nampak?
Okey, cantik.
Okey. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum, salam sejahtera kepada semua student-student UniKL. First and foremost lah, saya ucapkan terima kasih kepada Saudara Farhan khususnya dan khasnya kepada UniKL kerana menjemput saya untuk memberi sedikit gambaran perjalanan hidup saya, karier saya dalam JKR lah. Mana tahulah mungkin satu hari nanti ada juga di antara, saya panggil anak-anak saya lah kot anak-anak saya di UniKL ni akan mengikuti jejak langkah saya di JKR. Cuma mungkin ada beberapa perkara yang bukan saja di JKR tapi applicable juga kepada career path di agensi-agensi lain. Okey. Nama saya Ramli Muhammad Yusof. Mula dia bertanya mana perginya IR Cik Ramli ni. Dia biasalah tu, masa bekerja tu kita ada IR, tapi bila kita dah pencen 4-5 tahun ni kena nak bayar yuran IR tu, kena makan duit juga kan. Tetapi basically the IR is not the one that you put in front of your name for glamourism kan. It is the thought, it is the thinking that makes you an engineer. So saya ada juga satu joke for the start. And I was telling Farhan tadi, I always start with the story. Kalau you miss my story, but now dia kata dah record lah, dia boleh dengar kemudian. But anyway, you can have your IR, you can have your AR, you can have your SR. Now ada TS kan, ada all those you can have it. Tapi the most important thing in your career is your PR. If you got all those IR, AR, SR without PR, you cannot go anywhere. If you got your professional plus your PR, you can go a long distance away. But if you got your PR without the professional, you only go halfway through. So actually having all your professionalism is tip top. You must take it, but you must have also a good PR. Okay, alright. Today presentation lebih kurang dalam half an hour to 45 minutes. So what we're going to do today, mungkinlah kita akan cerita sikit apa the objektif dia. Always begin something begin with the end in mind. Apa objektif kita sebenarnya kan? Macam kita jugalah. Apa akhirnya kita? Kemana kita kan sebenarnya, itulah objektif dia kan. And then mechanical engineer, why B1? Some of us are reluctant engineer. I'm for one lah. Ada setengah Farhan pun tak tahu dia nak jadi engineer ke tidak lu kan. Mungkin some of us yang kadang ni pasal, oh mak bapak dia kata jadi engineer lah kau, ikut bapak-bapak kau. So why B1? There must always be a reason why you want to be one. Why you want to be a mechanic? Make it something that I love to be one. Then you build a passion for that profession you're in. A bit of JKR, secara ringkas saja, brief history, and then some organization. Organization ni is I took it from their website, so this is current lah, sama current. And then I think tak ada masalah, you can download juga daripada JK nya website. Then we talk about the journey. My journey is 32 years because I decided to call it a day at the age of 57 lah lebih kurang. So 57, I decided not to continue my journey up to the 60 mark lah. So kalau sampai 60 tu probably I would end up dengan 35, 36 tahun lah. But 32 is also a long journey. The journey is not the time, the duration is the time, but what you feel in the journey. What you feel in that journey of your life, that is what counts. Kadang-kadang you just sit down for 32 years, nothing happen. What you do in that journey, that's most important, okay? Then we talk about the journey. And then of course I share with you the future lah, the future in JKR. And then the future that when I left JKR, what is in store JKR down the road, and also some of the information that masa saya buat strategic management, I was in the corporate office kan, what are the skill yang required and what I feel actually lacking mungkin dalam the current generation yang perlu ada. Then the future. Share a bit with you lah. Mungkin relevant, mungkin tak relevant, but I want to share with you the future. And then last question and answer. So basically, anak-anak semua student semua lah kot. Tuan-tuan dan puan lah senang Itu kan anak kan kata, alah Cik Ramli ni macam dia ada tu sangat Okay. So anyway, tuan-tuan dan puan semua, itulah kita punya content for tonight. Let's begin the show Objektif. Macam yang sebut tadi, always begin with the end in mind. Apa kita jadi malam ni? Well, I hope we can share you with an overview of mechanical engineer's role in JKR. Apa lawang kerja dalam JKR ni kan? JKR ni banyak akronim. JKR ni macam-macam ada, tak perlu sebutlah. Yang elok ada, yang tak elok pun ada kan. Tapi yang eloknya, jangan kau risau. Tapi jambatan kita roboh, jalan kita rosak, jangan kau risau juga tadi. So whatever it is. So kalau you dalam JKR, you can learn all those acronym in JKR. At least an overview. Kalau nak tahu detail, mungkin tak sedetail, but at least you know what are the mechanical in JKR for your takeaway lah. If you love to be in JKR, then you know this rule. The secondary objective, the takeaway. In all presentation kadang-kadang, sometimes the primary objective is tak best. It's always the secondary, the takeaway tu. So kalau if you sit and listen kadang-kadang, you can take some important things. So I think I just list down a few things that I kata take away. The importance of management skills to pack with your technical skills. Kenapa penting management skill ni? And it's important. And that's why kadang-kadang sometimes it's good for you while you are still studying ke UNIKL ni, pack yourself with management skill. Some courses, dia management ni dia tak ajar. I'm a graduate of Nottingham University UK lah, mechanical engineering kan. Kadang-kadang kita buat financial appraisal, tapi management skill ni kadang-kadang dia built in dalam your courses. Mungkin Cik Farhan dia buat game, dia buat assignment, dia buat teamwork, dia buat presentation. Those are where you pick up your management skill. Some of you are leaders, born leaders. Daripada asal lagi memang dah nampak the leadership skill. Some of us ni kadang-kadang kita maybe doers. Mungkin kita ikut je kan, kita tidak. But it can be developed. All of us are born leaders. Itu Islam kata. Every one of us is a leader in our own domain. So, management skill are important. And then I think the other one, your takeaway will be thinkers and doers. There are times di mana kita just be doers. Buat je. There is a story that I always tell dekat sini lah sebenarnya kan. Katalah kalau ada two person, a thinker and doer ni, kalau kata KP JKR lah, senang JKR kan. KP dia kata, bawa aku ayam. Siapa bawa ayam dulu? The doers akan bawa ayam. Dia dulu sampai bawa ayam. Tinkers ni dia duduk lagi termenung fikir kan. Tapi dia dua, dia bawa ayam Kentucky. KP aku bukan nak Kentucky lah, aku nak ayam penyet. So maknanya the doers will do it first. But maybe what dia buat tak betul. Tinkers dia start tanya, KP, ayam apa KP? Ayam lah. Ayam apa? Ayam Kentucky ke? Ayam penyet? Ayam penyet lah aku suka makan. Ayam penyet yang pedas ke? Tak pedas ke? You see the thinkers ask a lot of questions before get things done. The doers. But in all organisation, you need a blend of thinkers and doers. Kalau doers saja tak ada thinkers, no go. Kalau thinkers saja tak ada doers, no go. So you need to be both. You need to be doers and thinking. And you need to be thinkers who do things. So this is important. The role of thinkers and doers as an engineer lah. And then of course the last one take away is the future of mechanical engineers and the skills required lah. Kadang-kadang kita mechanical engineer ni salah satu disiplin takkan hilang lah. Mechanical, civil, the core engineering you will always be there. Daripada zaman kalau kita study even zaman-zaman Islamic dia the golden age for Islamic pun, the engineers, they are thinkers, they are philosophers and they are engineers. And kalau you tengok dalam zaman kita punya Khwarizmi, Ibn Sina, all those are thinkers but they are also engineers. So you will always be there. So you are in the right field trying to be a mechanical engineer. There are a lot of things for you to think. Mechanical engineers. Biasalah bila tengok engineer je engine kereta lah, syok lah kan. Jadi mana-mana yang nak jadi mechanical engineer mungkin dulu dia minat kereta. Bapa ada tengok kecil guys main kereta je kerja dan kau ni jadi engineer, mechanical engineer. So mechanical engineer, these are machines, rocket, and then this mechanical clock, trains, these are all engineering. And of course yang ditambah sikit, I don't know again. Okay, these are actually mechanical engineering is the one who involved dengan environment. These are the building services. Kita the core of it. One of the story that I have is when I did my master way back in 1996-97 and I was doing environmental, I was master in energy and built environment. Now 1990-97 masa tu, energy ni dalam JKR tak ada benda yang orang nak kisah sangat pun. So bila saya buat master energy and built environment ni, my pengarah tanya apa kau nak buat ni? Nak buat energy, energy kau pakai energy tak siapa kisah pun tenaga kan. That was 1996 masa tu lah. So actually when I came back, we got the team yang mula buat the ISO untuk EE dengan RE tu, the ISO tu. Sama lah dengan beberapa team. And I got an architect by the name of Sarina Hijaz. Sarina Hijaz ni anak Hijaz Kasturi. So she was designing pada masa tu the Telecom punya tower dan juga dengan the Security Commission building. And she told me, Ramli sebenarnya kan, there are not many green engineers, especially mechanical. Sebab most mechanical people ni, they solve the problem of ni is cool the whole building. Sebab engineers mechanical ni kita being trained, they can do anything they like, you just pump in aircon. Dekat Sahara Desert pun you pump in aircon, dekat US pun you pump in aircon, Australia pump in aircon. So our solution is aircon the whole building. So we are always orang yang kata tak kisah lah bagi kita apa pun architect, kita akan sejukkan dia. But actually trying to be a green engineer, mechanical engineer, to me at that time, there is this market for it. And I feel this is one good field lah. How do you cool a building without engineering? How do you cool using your stack ventilation, your chimney punya principle dengan punya double cooling, slab cool, all those kind of things. So there are cuma di Malaysia ni, green architect is for front, but green engineers, especially mechanical, belum ada lagi. So maybe 1996, now bertahun lah, dekat 20 tahun lah kan, masih lagi jauh. So probably there's a market for it. So these are engineers field barriers lah. Okay, this is in Malay sebab yang ambil dia daripada ni, asal usul JKR lah. 1872, tua dah kita. 1872 tahun depan, 150 tahun dah JKR ni. Two school of thought. Masih lagi ke kita ni valid to exist? 150 tahun macam dinosaur lah kita sebenarnya kan. We are one of the oldest organisation in JKR sekarang ni. Yang saing-saing dengan JKR 1872, if for your information, is PWD Singapore, PWD Hong Kong, PWD Canada at one time, PWD di Australia. Semua dah tak ada dah. Kalau Australia PWD dia ada, kalau juga PWD ni kat Australia dia ada satu state lagi, Victoria tak silap saya. Singapura dah tak ada, Hong Kong dah tak ada, semua dah tak ada. Yang ada di Malaysia lagi lah. There was move to corporatize PW ataupun JKR lah, but kita tak tahu ke mana. But maybe, how long will it be, Jamli? Well, looking at things, they will still be lagi 20-30 tahun ada lagi lah JKR ni kot. So sempat lah you all nak join JKR. But even if you join JKR dalam different form pun it's okay. So 1872 first one lah recording dalam JKR punya lah, Negeri-Negeri Selat. And then kita ni ada Akta 333 which is Jalan Persekutuan. That's why you can see the domain of civil engineers dalam JKR because they are governed by the Akta Pengetahuan Jalan, Federal Road. Itu dia control oleh civil team kita. And then kita juga fungsi kita agency technical. There are only 2 technical agency dalam government, the whole of government agency, JKR dengan JPS. And we are the biggest. I'm always proud to say, JKR is bigger than JPS. Sebab JPS cuma kontrol parit dan saliran saja sebenarnya. Tapi kita kontrol most other development. So kita ni penasihat technical. And of course kita project management lah. Kita ni mengurus projek infrastruktur. Jalan, bangunan, lapangan, JT, you name it. You name it lah, masjid, all those physical building semua JKR. Salah satu downfall kita atau salah satu bukan downfall. Salah satu masalah kita because of this. Kita uruskan daripada sekecil-kecilnya kata balai ke JT ke balai pelawat kecil sampailah kepada istana negara yang besarnya tu kita buat sampai kepada airport kita buat. So you can imagine lah. Kalau kata kita buat masalah sikit dekat yang kecil tu sampai yang besar-besar pun orang kata tengok JKR bangunan tak siap, itulah dia. Pasal kita buat people see. The issue that we have in JKR is actually because kita ni physical. Rakyat jalan, rakyat bila jalan tepi jalan dia nampak. Tengok jalan JKR, tengok lubang-lubang. Tengok bangunan JKR tu kan. But in whole government, there are also other agencies yang buat projek tapi rakyat tak nampak. Contohnya apa? Contohnya satu is ICT lah. Kita ada banyak projek-projek ICT government yang kadang-kadang pun gagal juga. There are many. Kalau you read audit report banyak. But rakyat tak nampak. Rakyat don't see ICT gagal. Kita ada juga kegagalan kita dekat kita punya legal team. Kan? People yang work dengan the legal department lah. Yang kalah court case. Tapi rakyat tak nampak. Sama bit lah. Okay. Sajalah nak meluahkan perasaan masa asyik JKR je sebab apa nampak kan. Sebab kita fizikal. Rakyat tengok. Rakyat nampak tengok tu bangunan JKR. Tengok tu. Okay. Kita juga sebenarnya adalah this is quite new, peneraju pengurusan aset dan pengurusan projek. Create is our training center. JKR dulu ada training center, Ikram dekat Bangi lah. Dia was sold off, dijual. Dia was our training center. Kalau tidak jadi universiti lah, Cik Amli mungkin jadi dia punya vice chancellor situ maybe kalau I'm still around. Tapi benda tu dah dijual dan kita buat baru. Baru ni dekat dengan area Alor Gajah. So Create is our training center. Center of-nya, that's our new training center. Dan kita ni adalah the only jabatan di bawah Kementerian Kerja Raya. Kementerian Kerja Raya ada beberapa agensi tapi Jabatan Kerja Raya satu je jabatan. Lain tu CIDB, Lembaga Lebuh Raya dan juga ni. Okey, dosa sejarah sedikit lah 1872. And mechanical ni masa 1872 tu kita punya main domain was actually masa tu buat rel kereta api. So it more on the British nak tarik keluar all those kind of goods daripada pergi ke Port Swettenham. So mechanical ni mungkin dengan mesin lah bantu buat rel kereta api tu. Okey, kecil sikit ni. Okey, saya boleh besarkan, you pun boleh besarkan. Okey, ini this is current, cuma kadang-kadang cuma nak cerita sini lah. Okey, ketua pengarah kerja raya kita sekarang ni is Haji Zul, which is actually civil. Bagus tak macam ni kan, Cik Ramli? Boleh ke mechanical jadi ketua pengarah? Boleh. Kita pernah ada satu Tan Sri Halaluddin jadi ketua pengarah kerja raya. That was I think prior to 85 lah, sampai around mungkin the early 80s. Tapi surprisingly kalau you tengok ni timbalan ketua pengarah kerja raya Datuk Engineer Habali dengan timbalan ketua pengarah sektor pakar Radwan, these dua-dua is mechanical. Ini baru rekod first time kita ada dua mechanical jadi TKP. So peluang cerah mechanical ni. Cuma Datuk Radwan ni dah pencen lah, baru pencen. My best lah, dia baru pencen this year. Habali mungkin next year dia pencen. So maknanya if you are in JKR, you don't have to worry. You can be the KP, you can be, kalau tidak pun at least TKP is your post. So those are the biggest post, okay? So this is structure JKR. all current. And then benda-benda yang asterisk ni, yang ada merah-merah ni, macam bintang 5 komunis ni, kemungkinan nanti this is where I've been lah, my journey. So kalau you tengok my journey ni, nak kata spread wide tak jugalah, but I'm more focused. Saya pernah duduk di pejabat TPKR, saya pernah duduk di sektor pakar mekanikal lah. Lama saya di sinilah, di mechanical side ni saya lebih kurang ada 14 tahun juga, 12 tahun di sini. And then the second half of my journey is banyak dekat portfolio pengurusan, management side. So daripada mechanical engineering field, move over to KP's office, then move over to pengurusan side. And that's how always you punya hierarchical punya kata lah, that's how we grow up the ladder, okay? These are the negeri, these are people in the negeri. So kalau kat JKR ni, biasalah buat HR lama macam ni, nak balik Terengganu boleh ke? Nak boleh Johor? Mechanical boleh lah, tapi seorang dua orang boleh balik. You boleh balik Pahang, boleh balik Johor, boleh balik di Sembilan. So bolehlah balik negeri. Kalau duduk dekat masuk JKR ni, bolehlah minta mana tu dapat pergi Kedah balik ke. Macam tu lah ceritanya kan. Kita ada all over di negeri-negeri. Sabah Sarawak is JKR, tapi dia bukan JKR Malaysia. Sabah Sarawak is dia on its own. Tak ada kena-mena dengan kita di sini. So JKR Sabah sendiri, JKR Sarawak sendiri. So they are not inside the structure. Kalau Labuan, yes. Kalau Labuan, bawa kita. Alright. Ini Carta Mechanical, CKM. Ini carta lama, saya tak rasa blanko nama-nama dia orang. But this is the new structure. So kalau you tengok mechanical ni, dia punya pengarah kanan Jusabi, one of the highest post juga. Dan ada 2 Jusasi, pengarah kepakaran, which is an area of expertise untuk mechanical engineering. Kalau you all minat nak jadi pakar-pakar ni, kan see, unit pakar kecepatan EERE, and then dia ada unit pakar vibration control dengan juga unit testing commissioning and forensic. Lepas tu dia ada ACMV, Aircon Mechanical Ventilation, and then fire and whatnot. Ini kawasan project. And this is medical punya equipment dengan lab, and then fluid people. And these are supposed to be area of expertise. Pakar-pakar kepakaran dalam mechanical lah dia bilang. And these are pengarah reka bentuk. The biru ni is yang designer's office. So designer ni dia ada reka bentuk, dia pecah ke beberapa kumpulan. Saya lama duduk di reka bentuk kesihatan. So kalau ada mana hospital yang pakai ni, kemungkinan adalah saya punya chop jari kat situ kan, buat aircon ke, medical gas ke apa ke. Kalau mana-mana yang tak cukup gas tu mungkin tak sampai tu, bukan saya lah. Kan maintainer punya orang. Okey, saya design saja. So I was in the mechanical wing most of my life doing designing hospital services. So I build up my expertise kat sini. And then I was in workshop. Ada satu ni bahagian perimbangan harta. Dulu ni nama dia Federal Workshop. Yang beradanya dekat tu lah, dekat dulu Jalan Chan Saulin tu. Kalau yang lama-lama lah, sekarang tak ada dah. Ada padang bola di BKS Medarup, dah jadi MRT lah. Sekarang diorang dah pindah dekat Cerah, tak silap saya. And this is mechanical negeri-negeri. So these are the mechanical setup yang dalam JKR. Okay, career path. This is one of my product juga sebenarnya when I was doing HR. Kita create satu career path for officer. Kalau you masuk JKR, you will start dengan 41 lah. 41 is entry point. Once you join JKR at grade 41 ni, then you climb the ladder pada 44 and then mungkin at 48. Now between 48 grade and 52 grade ni, you kena some or other have some decision point. You want to be technical people, technical management, maknanya you are more on technical management ni macam project manager, asset manager kan, ataupun you jadi state, ataupun you nak jadi pakar specialist, technical specialist. These are yang tadi tu, yang pakar-pakar getaran, pakar-pakar ni. So at between 40 tu you boleh roughly decide you nak jadi project technical, kita technical management lah, mana you more on managing technical side, which is an open post, project manager, asset manager kan, jaga, ataupun you nak jadi proper mechanical punya expertise area tadi. So this is the career path yang kita develop for JKR punya personnel. So at 41, 44 ni kadang-kadang ni you will be transferred, you akan dipindahkan daripada satu cawangan untuk nak expose you to a few things lah, until once you dah expose at least kepada 3 core business ataupun 2 core business, then only you decide. Okay, now let's begin the journey lah. 32 years. 32 years ni kalau you tengok journey saya ni sebenarnya, if you add up total 32 years ni, kalau you ambil dekat mechanical workshop 5 tahun, cadre 2 tahun, and then mechanical 4 tahun, Then I went for my study ni, 1997. Masa itulah saya buat Master in Energy Environment dekat Cranfield University UK. I was there for about 11 months or 1 year. Then I come back, masuk balik mechanical 4 tahun. And then masa tu ada restructuring, dia tarik I letak dekat arkitek punya cawangan. Masa tu restructuring, so kejap 8 bulan je. Then I di projek tu. Then balik kepada Reka Bentuk C Hospital lagi 2 tahun. So kalau you tengok Reka Bentuk C ni, lebih kurang 12 tahun lah buat design hospital lah Reka Bentuk C ni kan. And then that is at 48 level. And then of course from then onward I dah move kepada okay. And then after that masuk pada Procom. Nama pelik sikit tapi I will explain later on. Now masuk pengurusan. So daripada sektor ni, sektor pakar, cadre 1, then I masuk pengurusan Grade 48. Then I buat management daripada Procom, KP's office, Human Resource, and then back to Procom, jadi pengarah Procom, then my last post bahagian pengurusan. Okay, let's go. Kita go each and every one secara ringkas, then I will tell you what is the job scope dekat situ and what are the challenges, cabaran-cabaran dia lah nanti bagi dia setiap tempat yang ada tu ya. Cawangan mechanical, JK Workshop Persekutuan. I was there mula-mula masuk kerja dekat mechanical workshop. That was February 1985. Workshop ni dekat Ceras. I was there for about 5 years. So what do we do there dekat workshop ni sebenarnya? Okay, dulu dan sekarang ni masih lagi sama. Tapi dulu dia buat maintenance of heavy plants and mechanical. Dulu dia banyak, at one time JK ni, kita banyak buat refurbish lori-lori. So kalau mungkin you all tak ingat lah, mungkin masa tu you kecil juga kan. Tapi kalau Farhan ingat kot dulu JK ni kan ada banyak lori-lori tu sadai yang orang kata nak naik pokok kan. So basically mechanical team ni dia refurbish. Mana lori-lori mana yang lama tu kan kita akan baraikan dekat workshop mechanical ni, kita akan pindah-pindahkan. Jadi kita akan buat balik baru, kita rebuild lori baru. Masa kita jaga, masa tu at that time Federal Road masih di bawah maintenance kita lah. So that's how big. And kita ada Caterpillar, low loader, all those heavy machinery. And of course kita ada vehicle lah. But across the board, most of the work dah jadi privatized. Jadi maknanya jalan-jalan semua telah diswastakan. So kita tidak ada banyak dah heavy plant lah. So don't worry lah kalau you pergi, kalau you join workshop sekarang ni, kalau you takut tengok mesin yang besar-besar tu, mesin tu dah tak ada dah. Caterpillar, dozer ke apa semua tu dah tak ada lah dekat workshop dah kan. So mainly now they are doing vehicle and dia ada buat inspection. Dia buat jadi macam puspakcom. That's the role that workshop play now. So your competency there is mainly maintenance, you buat inspection and then you buat testing and commissioning. Now the first thing that I learn dekat workshop ni is again lah managing people. Sebab bila kita memula kerja, memanglah tu kita akan ada staff lah. Kerana kalau kat workshop, kalau you sit in the workshop, you have people yang fitter-fitter pekerja-pekerja kita kan. So I remember my first lesson in managing people is saya dapat daripada siapa? My chargeman. Chargeman ni adalah fitter-fitter daripada labourer-labourer, naik pangkat, paling tinggi sekali labourer dia angkat jadi chargeman lah. Nama dia Tan Silong, dah meninggal dia sebenarnya. So bila saya dapat kepada workshop tu, he advises me. So apa dia nasihat dia daripada saya? Bos, ini kalau you jadi bos, kalau itu nanti ada itu labourer, fitter, bagi rokok sama bos lah. Jangan ambil tau. Saya isap rokok dulu sebenarnya kan, one time lah. Dia bagi rokok jangan ambil bos. Wah, tak boleh ke Tan? No, jangan. Kalau dia bagi you rokok apa, jangan ambil. Kenapa tak boleh ambil Tan? Tak boleh bos. Nanti kalau you ambil tu, nanti besok ada cerita sana kantin tu. Kita ada kantin asing, kantin worker lain, kantin pegawai lain. Very power distance kat workshop ni kan, macam orang putih sikit lah kan. Jadi worker punya kantin kat sana, tempat lain. Bosnya kantin kat sini. Jadi kata nanti sana kantin, dia cakap apa? Ya, itu bos senang lah. You bagi dia satu rokok sudah cukup dia tak mari kerja. Jadi maknanya dia gunakan cerita-cerita macam tu. So actually that is the first thing that I learned from my chargeman. Jadi dia kata you jangan, so you got to learn this a bit like the power distance macam mana. Not too close but not too far. Jadi kalau you jadi manager ni, kalau kata you go on the wrong footing, if you go on the wrong footing, jadi nanti people will tengok you, dia akan ada negative on you. Walaupun tak betul. People see and people interpret. So that was the first thing, managing people. I got a few more incident yang masa dekat managing people juga. So, okay. So ini baru kat sini banyak cerita ni. Okay, I was in charge of this refurbish of vehicle. Sama orang lepas tu, I met one of the fitters. I tak boleh buka skru lori ni. Memanglah kita tangan lembik kan, kita belajar macam you all lah, belajar ni kan. Bila kena pegang spana bapak gajah nak tanggal tayar lori bukan boleh tu. Kenalah puyat. Apa ini belajar tinggi-tinggi, skru pun tak boleh buka ke tadi. So what do you do? Okay. Contoh yang dekat lori tu, formula untuk ni, kata you kasi selesai ni formula KA. Saya tak ada belajar ni lah. Saya kata, saya pun tak ada belajar buka skru tau, masa saya belajar dulu tau. So anyway, workshop so managing people lah, that's the important thing. Alright, next I go to cadre. What is cadre? Cadre ni sebenarnya ni, dia letak engineer, mechanical engineer, civil ke mana ke, kat ministry, kat agency, ministry. There are 25 ministries and agencies. So basically now bila you dekat cadre, you are technical advisor and you buat project management dan juga maintenance and you buat technical audit. Bergantung dekat mana you letakkan. Kalau you duduk dekat jabatan kereta api, you kena tahu pasal kereta api. Kalau dia letak you dekat bomba, you kena tahu pasal nak maintain bomba punya equipment. Kalau dia letak you dekat treasury, you jadi advisor untuk vehicle. So kat situ tu probably you more on your knowledge is because you are the only technical person around. I was attached to Kementerian Pembangunan Luar Bandar, KPLB lah pada masa tu. And saya terlibat dengan bahagian perusahaan which is actually pada masa tu kita duk bagi mesin kat orang, bagi mesin jahit, bagi mesin air tebu, bagi mesin-mesin nak bagi industri luar bandar ni kan, nak bagi dia orang. So I was the technical person lah. Kalau kata nak bagi mesin buat perabot tu, I kena tahulah mesin buat perabot tu. So kalau you pergi dekat Jabatan Hutan, dia kena tahulah pasal mesin ni. So I don't know what to advise you here sebenarnya, but people go to cadre ni, dia kena different sikit dia punya learning curve lah. Pasal you are mixing with fellow pegawai tabir, PTD lah, PTD people, and then they expect you to know technical more than them. So you really have to know where you are, and then bila duduk situ, you kena read through and learn the process kat situ. So you will be there lah. Kita akan hantar orang to cadre. Okay, again, cadre ni, bila saya atas sana, what was my task? Pada situ, my boss dekat workshop, dia kata, Ramli, I send you to cadre to learn two things. One, how to learn how to write good papers. Sebab PTD are good paper writer. Orang technical ni malah buat paper. Farhan, you kena ajar dia orang, kena pandai buat paper. Jadi, my boss hantar, kata, for you to learn how to write good papers. Satu. Keduanya, you got to mix with PTD. Because one day, you will need to meet them. And you can use them bila you grow up the ladder. Okay. Cadre is very important. Perform in cadre, your life is easy. Cadre, Now, this is the 32 years. Ini yang kata 10 tahun saya buat design ni kebentuk ni. Now, this is the core of what normally mechanical engineer buat lah dekat dalam JKR ni. These are the thing lah. So, I was there mula-mula 1993 and then 4 years there sebagai designer. Then I pergi my further studies 1 year, came back there. Again jadi designer J3 tu, and then transfer to John Architect, then came back as one of the design head lah at 48 tu 2004. Okay, apa kita buat sini sebenarnya ni? Kita ada yang tadi tu, kita ada building services design, maknanya now you become designer. Ada benda yang semua orang nak, jadi designer, mechanical designer. Nak jadi consultant, you kena kerja kat sini. I've got a few colleagues yang sebenarnya join mechanical, join JKR lah, join mechanical especially. Lepas tu dia kerja, duduk kat sini, and then dia kerja for 3-4 years, then dia berhenti, buka consultant firm. Because JKR ni is a gold mine. And people always don't realize you are in a gold mine. Unless you really see your future. This is where actually you learn how to be good designer. And for you to be a consultant out there, you get your PE, you learn how to design, and kenalah kalau you duduk dekat hospital, lagilah macam-macam services you kena design. You be the best, then you get out, set up your own firm. P1, set up your own company dekat lah tu. This way you learn things. So you belajar designer, you buat project management and ada energy audit. Of course dekat mechanical engineering sekarang ni pun, dia ada specialist area lah, yang tadi tu lah. 7 areas. Kalau you go back kan, bawah ni saya tunjuk . So the competency required, design, research, project management. Kat sini challenger sama juga. Actually wherever you are now in a working environment, it's actually managing people lah. That's a core thing that you need to do. Bila how to manage people, your subordinate, your peers, your client, your boss upstairs kan, you punya nak manage the architect, nak manage the civil people. Dia kata apa ni manager lambat ni, architect kata aku nak buat macam ni, kita kata tak boleh, aku nak issue atas, issue bawah. There's so many things that in the design office that you can learn. How to manage all this expectation and whatnot. And also time. Sebab kadang-kadang nak tender on time, benda nak kena panggil on time, so kena pressure sikit lah. Kadang you know last minute nak kena apa, changes yang ada, so you really have to manage your time. Stress sikit, but berbaloi. Masuk design office, kalau masuk JKR, whatever it is, kalau you kena interview kata, saya memang bagus design tuan kata, you get yourself, put yourself inside the design office, get your PE, get your IR, okay. So these are the mechanical building services. Banyak. Kalau tengok kat hospital, I think kalau kat hospital tu, dia punya mechanical electrical is core of the services. If you duduk dekat buat hospital, you can do all this. ACMV, aircon mechanization, fire protection, lift escalators, internal cold water, pipe medical gas, building, semua lebih kurang lah. Fume cupboard ni is actually Melayu panggil kebut WhatsApp lah. Your fume cupboard untuk nak extract lab ni, pneumatic tube, hot water kitchen. So these are some of the mechanical services that you will be designing. Apa sebenarnya kita pakai masa design ni macam ni? Actually bila you buat ni, that is your competence lah, you punya design tu. Because you learn about heat transfer, that is pakai dalam ACMV. You learn about your pump head, you learn about you punya macam Farhan dia ajar apa, dynamic ke, static, whatever dia, all those things that you belajar tu, bila you buat design, you akan pakai some of it. So you will use it. Sekarang ni zaman IT, cuma zaman IT ni kadang-kadang orang dia dah tak faham, dia tekan maklumat, keluar result. Jadi but understanding it, understanding your heat transfer, understanding about the change of state, latent, bila you buat aircon tu belajar latent heat vaporization, latent heat, you go back and you study balik, these are the things that you akan pakai pada situ. You buat fire preparation, you akan design pump head, pipe sizing, internal water semua akan buat. Pipe medical gas lagi another challenging design. So these are the designers yang ada dalam for mechanical services. These are the designing. So you pick up a lot of designing thing here. These are the specialist area tadi lah. Macam tadi lah, I just buat size ni. Mana ERE, kalau siapa yang minat nak jadi specialist pakar. Tadi kan kadang kita ada career path yang you can go into pakar. So pakar ni ERE, TNC, noise vibration control, ACMV, indoor air quality. These are the areas lah. Project course control, mechanical, lab, medical equipment, fluid. Okay, these are the area of expertise yang ada, yang sekarang ni lah, pada masa ni identify oleh mechanical people. So these areas. Now there is one sector yang saya tak pernah sampai, is the business sector. Kita kalau you go with the structure, kita ada sektor pakar, kita ada sektor jalan civil domain lah, tak ada mechanical ke situ. Kita ada sektor business. Business sector ni actually the one that deal with various clients. So kita ada cawangan kerja kesihatan, dia deal dengan Kementerian Kesihatan. These are their client. Ni buat hospital, buat klinik kesihatan, buat klinik desa, buat. Lepas tu kita ada cawangan kerja keselamatan, dia deal dengan KDN and ATM and whatnot. Cawangan kerja pendidikan, Kementerian Pelajaran dan Pendidikan Tinggi. Lepas tu kita ada cawangan kerja bangunan AM 1 dan 2. Yang mana tak ada kat sini, dia akan duduk dekat bangunan AM. So dia macam rebah. Dia ni pergi buat istana. Dia akan buat bangunan-bangunan kata training situ pun dia akan buat juga sama lah. And then dia akan buat duta-duta kita dekat India, bangunan-bangunan duta semua tu. Di bangunan AM. And then kita ada satu maintenance team, cawangan senggara sisi bangunan, also maintenance. So kat sini mainly is actually the project and facility management. Now you start to have all this project management and asset management and soft skill. Soft skill is quite important when you go into project management. Maknanya project management tadi tu, kalau you ada IR, you ada AR, you ada tu, but you don't have your PR, soft skill is PR sebenarnya. You don't have your PR, very difficult for you to be a good project manager. Kalau kata you be an engineer, okay, but to be a project manager, soft skill ni is very important. Okay, so the challenges, you call it the 3C in project management lah. Good communication, good connection, good cooperation. How to get all this in the project management environment. How to communicate, how to cooperate. So I tak pernah merasa duduk di business sector, that's one thing lah. But I am a project manager. Okay. Alright, apa benda pula macam gambar-gambar ni? Okay, apa benda ni? Ini sebenarnya trying to tell you the concept of multidiscipline in JKR sebenarnya. Okay, of course, architect lah. Architect always the beauty. Mechanical ni mas lekeh. I'm sorry lah mechanical gang ya. Biasalah mechanical ni dia grogi-grogi pakai baju rambut panjang kan. Mechanical. Mechanical apa sebenarnya? Okay, the civil, these are the bone, the structure in the building. They are the core yang buat you punya foundation. Those are civil people. The structure of the building. And then the mechanical, kita ni the pump. Kita ni the heart, the jantung, the liver, you punya apa? You punya sewerage system kan. Lepas tu kita ni dia punya you punya reticulation tu, plumbing you what not kan. All those are mechanical people in the building. Electrical lah all the nerve. Saraf-saraf ni, your mata apa semua tu kan. Tu saraf electrical people. And then of course QS tanya, QS apa macam ni? I pun tak tahu apa QS tapi letaklah kau juga. You are the muscles. Mass. Mana body muscle apa kan. Those are surveyor lah. Dia pun nak juga kan. Kalau dia tak hasil ni. So architect dia ni lah. Architect dia ni lawan ni, but in all organisation of multidiscipline, kalau you ada bones yang tak bagus, it doesn't work. You get good bones, good mass, good electrical, but bad heart, bad lungs, mechanical filter teruk, tak jadi juga. You got good filter, good heart, tapi you got a bad nerve, tak jadi juga. So all in all, mechanical kita di JKR ni, atau JKR as a whole, is a multidiscipline. Everybody has a part to play. And you are part of the team. You tak boleh fikir I mechanical aja, I tak kisahlah. No. Kalau you ada good lung, good heart, tapi your member buat tak betul dengan nerve system, the building collapse. So yang dapat buruknya JK juga kan. Walaupun mechanical bagus juga tak, akunya bagus, doesn't work. No building can exist on mechanical alone, or itu tak boleh. So this is a concept of multidiscipline, just to share with you guys. Okay. Alright, now we go on. This is now, once you finish your technical skill at the level jurutera yang bawah ni, actually now you're the managerial skill, leadership skill, management atau leadership. I prefer to leadership skill. As you grow up the ladder, you need a lot of leadership skill and lesser technical skill. But your technical skill ni is something that you learn across the board to assist you to have a good leadership skill. You must make sure. So your technical skill, the one that you learn, ini yang membantu you to have a good leadership skill. Kan? So this is the thing that as time spent on skill. Thinkers and doers. Tadi dah sebut dia kan? Okey lah, biasalah. Kalau bila KP suruh, dua dah berlari dah. Thinker ni fikir, apa, tanya soalan, tak jadi. Doers, specific, detail, accurate, local. You specific. Tahu apa nak buat. Specific. But thinkers, general, abstract, global. You lebih wider. You lebih tanya, lebih dengan. Okay, two types of leaders, thinkers and doers. Some are orientators, others are implementers. But I would conclude, you need both. You need to be a good doer and a good thinker. You do things thinking, and you think, and your ability to do things. So you kena dua skill you must have. You must have. Jangan buat saja. Kalau buat tu, fikir. Kalau buat, kena kita diajar untuk berfikir dan bertanya sikit, dan kita buat. Okay? Jangan. Okay. Now that is the second half of my journey sebenarnya. More on managerial concept. Then I was post kepada Procom. This is a new setup. Procom ni dulu is about 14 of us lah. Ambil daripada pelbagai disiplin, form a new team. Ni new setup. So kita form project cawangan project kompleks to come up with standard. What do we do there? Kita, Procom is custodian of project management standard and practices. So kalau nak promote sikit lah, kalau Farhan nak panggil saya cerita pasal project management lain kali, boleh tau. Saya boleh cerita project management ni. I'm a qualified project manager. JKR juga CIDB. Kita ada persatuan, Makma, nanti I'll give you the link. So kita ni cerita pasal project management. Kita own it, project management standard. Multidisiplin. 14 ni, semua disiplin. Kompetensi yang you nak sini, okay. Because you have a design kompetensi. Kita dah tahu design. Bila for how many years kita buat design, kita tahu tu. Project experience and system thinking. Mana system thinking ni, you must think secara menyeluruh, bukan cerita pasal kita saja. Now I'm able to talk about architect, able to talk about civil, able to talk about the whole process, system thinking. Creative, how to solve problem. Creative, you cannot just say, tak boleh, pasang aircon, pasang je aircon. Kalau tak pasang aircon. So these are the things that you start to be creative. Strategic management, and again, soft skill. These are the competencies required in the project management. Challenges, biasalah ni, managing change, never easy. Managing change and also alignment organisation. Kita cuba nak merubah JK ke arah standard practice and whatnot. So these are the portfolio. You become manager. These are the skill required as you grow up the ladder. Then saya dimasukkan pula dekat pejabat KP, CHOS Office. CHOS Office ni actually Center of Strategy. Bukan Chief of Staff. of staff ni, KP pada masa tu, kita ada lebih kurang 5-6 orang lah. Kita ni daripada Procom, kita diambil, kita letak dekat KP's office. Jadi advisory. We were advisor to the KP. Di situ sebenarnya then you learn about higher up level JKR lah kan. You learn about strategic management, scenario planning, what if. JKR ni boleh exist, tak boleh exist, what do you do forward, what do you... Again, system thinking as a whole, and policy development. Try to develop policy for JKR. And then kita juga kat sini ni biasalah, once you duduk kat KP level ni, you see what KP sees. So you ada referral power, what you see is what KP sees lah kan sebenarnya. Tapi you can see how to align organisation. How nak, and then vision and reality. KP punya vision kerana dia nampak, tapi reality on the ground ni orang tak nampak. Biasa tu kan ada problem mana organisation. Anak buah tak apa lagi mana bos ni, bos yang nampak nak pergi sana. Anak buah tak nampak lagi mana kan. So alignment, vision and reality, those are some of the challenges in organisation yang I face kat sini lah. And then I was put in, ni lama sikit ni. Saya lepas tu, I don't know why, but then they put me to head. Kalau you tengok sini, Procom is a new setup, 14 orang kita set in Procom. Chos Office is a new setup, 5 orang kita. I start lepas tu dengan new setup. I was in a new setup. Cawangan korporat bahagian dasar, this one I set up also bahagian dasar. Sebelum tu tidak ada, because bila kita duduk dekat KP's office dan KP realize bahawa sumber manusia ni is important to a technical organisation. Walaupun managing sumber manusia ni PTD domain, pegawai tabir diplomatik, tapi strategic human resource, kita tahu our core business. Once you know your core business, then you must plan your human resource around your core business. Jadi sebab itu saya di arah untuk form a team lah, bahagian dasar sumber manusia. I think masa tu kita start 2 orang, then 6 orang. Itu student kita yang bawa balik master, dan kita form bahagian dasar. I was there for a good 5-6 tahun. Kita develop policy for JKR. Macam mana nak mold JKR punya human resource in the future organisation. Very interesting. Very interesting. One thing that I learned here. Kadang-kadang sometimes some of us, kita tak lah, aku engineer lah, aku belajar ni, tak mau. That is not my style. Wherever you're being sent, you do your best because you're engineer. Because of that. Because you're engineer, you can do anything. Engineer can do human resource. PTD cannot do engineering. You can do what? You can do many things that people can do. And especially mechanical lagi lah. Kita boleh jadi arkitek. Arkitek tak boleh jadi mechanical. Tak boleh. You tanyalah arkitek, tak boleh. You learn about energy environment, you are the culprit. Aircon yang paling besar sekali. So anyway, so mechanical are the better people at doing and thinking things sebenarnya. And then I was sent back to Procom. Okay, bagian dasar inilah strategic investor planning. I just put gambar-gambar tepi ni because sometimes reality lah, orang tengok perkara yang berbeza, you see. Understanding core business, human resource management, and bila buat human resource, I joined MI HRM. I got a lot of credentials into human resource. They think I'm not an engineer anymore. I'm more on the PTD officer rather than engineer, because I really go into the deep business of the organization of business. Challenges. Pokoklah human resource kan, people needs and want. Bila tak naik pangkat, kita kena marah. Naik pangkat, kita transfer, kena marah juga. Farhan tak naik pangkat, dia marah. Bila naik pangkat, kan kena pindah tempat lain. Sebab you dekat Uni KL, tak kena pindah mana. Kalau JKR, bila tak naik pangkat, marah. Bila naik pangkat, kena tukar pergi Labuan, mengamuk pula. So, there's always human resource issues dalam organisation. But interesting. I enjoy my life doing human resource. I enjoy it. Apart from designing lah. Okay, last of my journey. The last of my journey is actually dekat perundingan also baru. So kalau you tengok the later half of my journey daripada Procom new setup, Chos Office new setup, corporate new setup, and then Procom ni lepas tu jadi head lah, jangan head, and then Asset Bersepadu also new because JKR embark on the journey of whole life asset. So this is a new thing. Kita develop strategic asset management, trying to make government understand bahawa kita bukan buat projek, kita kan buat bangunan, kita create asset. Trying to think the whole asset life cycle, cradle to grave, daripada planning kita JK, kita planning, lepas tu kita construct, lepas tu kita handover, testing, and then kita maintain the whole building sampai kita boleh dispose the building. Trying to sell the idea of actually we are creating asset, we are creating a baby. Sebab government dia fikir setengah, buat projek, after that maintenance tak kira. Maintenance it's always common. Itu yang masa kita embark on this, masa Pak Lah lah. Pak sebut bahawa kita ada third class mentality maintenance. So that's why we embark on this. But still, this is new dalam JKR lah. And this is something that I wish you guys pick up. Sebab sini ada life cycle costing, design, design maintenance for future. How do you design building yang you cover future maintenance kan? Those skill set are important dalam this. Okay, generally, those are my journey dalam JKR lah. From design office, right kepada management. Always involved dengan new ones. Okay, this are, now then second, the next phase ni is what? Challenging I got 2 or 3 more slides to go, Farhan Cukup, just nice. We are in time. What are the challenges? BIM. I was masa dekat Procom, saya dan manage a BIM team. And BIM to me is the future in JKR. I don't know Unikel what you do, but dulu kita you should get your people to be able to do building modeling ni. Sebab sekarang ni dia jadi integrated design. Mechanical no longer design, tunggu arkitek siap, drawing 1 to 100 scale, pump dengan arkitek, pump dengan mechanical, mereka akan buat ni. Tidak. Dalam BIM punya konsep ni, your boys, kita mechanical ni, kita awal-awal lagi kita dah boleh masuk dan kita dah boleh identify our route, mana nak pergi, early lagi, very early. And you got to use tools. Jadi calculation tools, kilo calculation tools, pump calculation, semua ada dalam BIM ni. So BIM is something, the in thing. And I think for JKR to survive lagi 100 years, they will embark on this BIM. Kalau dia tak ada BIM, JKR will close down. Because BIM ni lah salah satu kita strategi to make sure JKR still exist. Okay, AI, Artificial Intelligence, AI. A report comes out mengatakan bahawa all this consulting firm ni, semualah consultant ni, baik doktor ke, baik lawyer ke, yang normal consulting ni, they will close down because of Artificial Intelligence. Orang akan tanya mesin aja. Mesin can solve you the problem. They don't need engineers to solve. Kata nak pasang, tak ada dah. You just tanya soalan, machine will tell you, okay, pasanglah 1 horsepower, 2 horsepower. They don't need designers anymore. So artificial intelligence is a challenge. Dia kena benda dengan big data lah. Dengan the big data punya issue kan. These are the things yang kadang-kadang mechanical jangan lupa. You are in the track. I read an article, kata even lawyer yang bagi normal consultancy tu, dia pun akan tutup kedai tak lama lagi. Even doktor, GP pun sekarang ni, you take your own blood measurement, you take your own kencing you boleh tahu sendiri dah sekarang ni. Then you pump info dalam mesin, they tell you now, okay Farhan, you ambil ubat-ubat ni doktor tak ada lah. So this is a real threat. Big data, AI. Whole life asset dah sebut tadi dah, design is maintainability. Life cycle costing is going to be, ini apa yang JKR plan akan datang lah ni. Ini building inspection, ini building rating, these are there. Of course, COVID-19 pushing the ACMV standard. Ada new standard now produced by Kementerian Kesihatan together with JKR lah. More fresh air, higher. This COVID-19 now is causing a lot of problem. Even mechanical design macam mana? Kejap orang masuk office, kejap tak masuk office. You design the whole building dengan aircon yang sama. Nak pasang aircon, tak pasang aircon. Kan? Kejap orang ada office, kejap ada rotate. So these are challenging now. This is a challenging time with the COVID ni. Dia buat banyak benda yang mechanical people terganggu gugat. Individual aircon lah kan, ketiak central semua macam you kat Unikel lah, you centralize semua. Budak tak boleh datang lah, aircon nak pasang tak boleh, pasang semua kena pasang. Pasang lampu. So these are the challenging now for engineers ni. Okay, flying car, apa sebenarnya tu? The aeronautic ke otomotif? Ataupun the aeromotive? Atau automatic? Siapa punya responsibility flying car kalau ada? It's going to be there in the future. So Unikel you kena decide, ni apa ni, lesen apa ni, lesen kereta ke lesen kat terbang? This is contoh-contoh yang challenging lah. It's good for you to think ahead and think. Okay. Last but not least, environmental lah. Environmental degradation. I think we are the major culprit. I am very environmentally conscious punya dah. I am one of the EE people lah sebenarnya, because I took a master in that line. So, I really kalau you design ni, you must design fit for purpose. You design enough. Jangan over design, jangan ni kan. These are the things that you must environment. Okay. These are challenges in JKR. You can save the slide. Okay, these are what? Skills of the future. Ni slide lama juga jalan ambil ni. Kalau you tengok sekarang ni, 2015, hospitality, recreation, leisure. Dah tak boleh kena COVID, recreation tutup kedai lah. Tapi by 2100, dominant life science, biotech, genetic, cloning. By 2200, nano, high pressure physics. So you can see now, what sort of, ni dalam Google kan jumpa, the 9 domestic sector akan datang. Sampai tahun 3000 dah orang nak fikirkan apa yang akan berlaku. Kita dah report, saya dah tak ada lah, tapi maknanya it's good for you to think as education department, what is their store in the future? What do you pack your skill for in the future? Okay. Automation, construction. There are about 60% now risk dia akan jadi automated. Betul tu, because now we are heading towards all this precast ni. Negara lain, Singapura dah ada kan. Dia akan buat solid block susun dah. So maknanya lesser construction akan jadi automation. And then kita tengok science engineering 40% akan jadi automation. Bila jadi automation ni maknanya less people, less job, less. These are the risk batai. Once automation dah kurang pakai orang. Change in skill and demand. Last slide ni kot. Kalau kita tengok tu technical skill ni, masa ini dia forecast 2015 for 2020. In 2020 dia kata only 12% technical skill. Tapi kalau tengok 2020 ni dia forecast tu dia nak complex problem solving 36%. System 70%, process skill 18%. Pada masa tu these are the things that foresee akan naik. Technical skill kalau you tengok growing skill demand only 33%. Kalau you tengok demand ni 33%. Tapi kalau you tengok cognitive abilities 52%. System skill maknanya they're looking at this kind of skills now required. Pada masa ni dia cerita 2015, now 2020. So these are the information that probably now you Google through, you can see now in 2030 pula apa dia sebenarnya skill demand yang diperlukan. Technical alone doesn't make you, even physical abilities pun sekarang ni tidak. Tapi benda-benda macam system thinking, complex problem, content skill, these are the abilities yang mungkin you can enhancekan you punya technical knowledge to make you a better mechanical engineer. Okay, summary. Penghujung tu bila summary tu kan, dia macam biasa bila imam bagi baju maknya tu kan. Bila semua tidur, mengantuk tidur je, lepas tu bila Pak Imam tu kata okey lah khutbah last ni, semua buka mata lah. I hope you guys are not sleeping. I'm talking alone here, Farhan. Okay. Summary. I hope lah. This 1 hour lecture ni you understand mechanical engineer's role in JKR lah. Dapatlah sikit-sikit. Tak banyak pun faham lah Cik Ramli cerita apa lah kerja mechanical engineering. Now you know lah. Tidak you tengok apa orang kata tak tahu kan. Management skill, how important it is. It's very important. Get yourself involved from the start. Jangan cheating bila ada group work, bila ada team work, make sure you participate. Make sure you PR, make sure you can manage things around inside your university. Bukan pergi untuk belajar saja, get the good degree, tidak. Tapi that management skill tu, you got to take it from your university, dan bila keluar nanti, management skill the first one that you akan pakai sebenarnya. And I hope you understand, thinkers and doers. Think and do. Don't think, not doing. Don't do without thinking. So everything must be there. Do with thought. Think and do. Okay. And then I hope sedikit sebanyak lah kot future mechanical engineering JKR dan juga the skill required yang akan datang. Okay. I hope tonight you get all these 4 benda yang kita ceritakan. And I hope dia ni sedikit sebanyak membantu jugalah UniKL ke, semua student kalau dengar ke, bagi you finish your degree, semangat habis sikit, minta kerja. Mechanical ni, the world is all yours. Pergi mengata-mengata boleh. Pergi dekat Arab, pergi semua negara boleh pergi. That's the future there. So, lastly, okay, that's it. Thank you very much. Kalau you kenal siapa yang sebelah saya tu, jangan main tu, itu orang power juga tu. I wish you guys can read. That is John Cotter, okay? John Cotter. I was in Harvard for tak lama lah, kejap lah. Harvard University, then he was a lecturer there lah. So, a lot of books yang Cotter buat is good for you to read lah. John Cotter punya buku-buku lah. I mean, just read through. Thank you very much. Over to you, Farhan. Over to you.
Alright. Thank you very much. Let us give a big applause to Tuan IR Ramli kita.
Okay.
Kita ada bunyi dah. Zaman dah sekarang ni dia tak ada bunyi. Dia nampak ada orang tekan-tekan tepuk tangan, okey? Okay,
oh,
just give a big applause nampak tak tu tepuk tangan banyak tu?
Okay.
Terima kasih banyak Tuan Ramli kita. So somehow untuk saya dan untuk student, Tuan Ramli ni macam abah lah. Tapi bukan rich dad, bukan poor dad, tapi adalah engineering father lah. Abah untuk engineering pada kita semua yang banyak ceritakan, kongsikan pengalaman yang sangat-sangat menarik lah untuk kami ni dan untuk especially para pelajar lah sebagai future engineer ni untuk akan datang ni. Okey. Banyaklah cabaran yang penting, antara poin-poin penting yang saya dapat catatkan kena adapt dengan adjust our learning curve lah, especially student ni. Mungkin apa yang kami lecturer ajar ni the basic of mechanical engineering, tapi at the real side, at the real job, curve learning tu mungkin dia dah berbeza kan, depending on situation, condition dan sebagainya lah. And then what most important is PR lah. Okay, PR communication, coordination and cooperation. Yang ni kalau tanpa PR ni susah nak buat kerja. Macam mana kita hebat sebagai engineer sekalipun, tapi kalau kita PR tak bagus, kita tak boleh nak suruh worker ni buat kerja. Kalau boleh pun depan mata kita dia buat, kita toleh air je dah ke laut dah benda yang dia buat tu. Jadi itu satu benda yang mungkin kita tak diajar secara directly, tapi daripada pengalaman-pengalaman yang diceritakan oleh Ayah Ramli ni, kita dapat belajar banyak sangat kepentingan PR ni lah. Okey. Dan yang bahagian-bahagian akhir tu adalah macam mana nak think ahead of time, dah fikir siap-siap nak solve the problem. Sebelum problem tu datang lagi, kita dah fikir a few solution supaya bila problem tak ada mata, kita dah ada idea dah macam mana nak solve. Itu sangat menarik dan sangat penting lah tentang benda ni sebab macam tadi kan tengok skill-skill tu, complex problem solving, cognitive skill, semua tu adalah skill-skill yang menggunakan otak. Itu memang specialization pelajar-pelajar mechanical engineering lah, yang kita harapkan dapat gunakan otak ni yang sangat-sangat mahal kan. Kalau fizikal tu kita tengok sangat-sangat rendah kan. Jadi point jangan lupakan yang IR Ramli kita sebutkan, mechanical are the best. So jangan rasa low self esteem, jangan rasa inferiority complex untuk graduate sebagai seorang mechanical engineer. Walaupun sekarang ni COVID ada macam-macam cabaran, nak buat projek lah, nak buat final project pun tak boleh, banyak benda tak boleh. Tapi grad dengan bangganya, dengan jayanya sebagai mechanical engineer lah. Okey, itu beberapa perkara lah yang saya dapat petikkan. Tapi malam ni bukan sesi saya kan, ini sesi Ramli kita kan. Jadi saya buka lah kepada pelajar nak bertanya, tanya sekarang. Mungkin pada malam ni kita dapat satu discourse lah. Discourse, mungkin sebelum ni kita ada skeptical view on JKR, tapi malam ni a discourse. Kita dengar sendiri daripada orang kuat JKR sendiri, what is actually JKR, what JKR has been doing all along selama ni lah. Okey, jadi kalau ada soalan boleh unmute, boleh perkenalkan diri dan tanya, ataupun kalau tak nak bercakap boleh tulis, nanti saya akan bacakan. Okey, silakan. Tu siapa yang unmute tu silakan cakap. Boleh. Ada soalan? Malu-malu pelajar kita ni.
Dia kena ada hadiah pun tanya soalan tu. Kalau menu dah ada hadiah. Kalau menu kita boleh buat hadiah tak?
Betul juga. Okey, sementara kita tunggu mungkin baru nak fikir kan soalan-soalan, mungkin dia sudah ni tergamam lah dengan cerita Ramli kan. Jadi saya nak tanyalah macam mana yang dimaksudkan dengan JKR is a gold mine tu?
Okey, kalau kita tengok sejarah JKR ni, kalau kita refresh balik, because kita is the biggest technical agency. Jadi kalau kita tengok konsultan dulu, kontrak dulu, semuanya asalnya daripada JKR. They work dalam JKR, and then bila negara mula membangun, bila nak perlukan perunding, they become contractor. Gamuda was also ex-JKR, Hashim Enne, all JKR, all these big consultant. So bila you masuk dalam JKR ni sebenarnya, is a gold mine ni, dia macam orang duduk library. Kadang-kadang kalau you kerja kat library, you kata boring jaga buku. But those books are actually, if you are there, if you baca buku, there are so many information. Jadi dalam JKR ni, dia ada banyak benda sebenarnya. Kalau kata you just figure out, you kena buat kerja saja, you just work, then it's just normal work. Tapi kalau you feel actually you want to use the information JKR ni, you kena kerja betul-betul. Maknanya bila buat design tu, design betul-betul. Study all the standards. Kalau boleh design ni, macam-macam design, take the challenge. Janganlah takut. Kan sama pun sekarang, alah aku tak biasa buat, aku tak nak buat lah. No. Kalau tak pernah buat medical gas, buat medical gas. Tak pernah buat fighting, buat. So take the challenge to learn everything yang dalam JKR ni. Kalau kena jaga projek, pergi jaga projek. So now you become a good designer, you become a good project manager, then you're equipped. Then you decide. Because you want to be, kalau you nak jadi, kalau you jadi kontraktor sekarang dah boleh dah. Pasal you dah tahu in and out of JKR, you dah faham spek JKR, you tahu the do's and don't kan, you know what to do, what not to do. Kalau jadi consultant, you dah ada IR, you got all those. Tapi kalau decided to stay, it's okay juga. So the problem kita ada ni, once people join the civil service, dia fikir dia pension umur 60. So dia fikir 30 tahun lama aku nak kerja ni, jadi slow. But I want to build the mindset of actually begin with that in mind. Kalau you join ni, you just give yourself, I just want to work for 10 years. You have 10 years to learn everything. After 10 years, you have learned so much. So I think that's the concept of a gold mine in an organization. If you see it as a goal, you work hard to get that goal. Then you decide what to do. Stay, just keep on staying. Next 10 years. Itulah tu. Dia satu lagi contohnya kadang macam kita kata orang yang tahu bila nak kena gantung lah kan. Kalau somebody knows the end, what do they do? You just imagine orang yang ada dekat dalam jail kan. Kalau dia tahulah dia nak kena gantung besok, nerak dia semayang gila-gila malam ni kan. Jadi bila kita bekerja pun kadang-kadang tu, bila kita bekerja, sebab kita tengok jauh sangat 30 tahun, jadi kita lax. Tapi set yourself, your goal. Aku akan kerja 10 years. So you only 10 years for you to learn. 10 years for you to learn. 15 years for you to learn. Then after that it's okay. Kalau you nak sambung lagi, tak apa. But then every time you have your goal. Itulah I wish. Those kind of thing.
I see. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Maksudnya gold mine ni in JKR that is the worst gold, that is the gold mine. Tapi dekat mana-mana pun kita kerja, ada something yang kita boleh belajar.
I've got one person sebenarnya dulu dia kerja kat Intan. Kat Intan ni dia kerja, dia organize kursus, pegawai tabir lah. Dia kerja organize kursus untuk leadership punya program. Tapi pasal dia hari-hari macam Farhan lah, hari-hari dia organize kursus tu, lama-lama dia jadi lecturer untuk kursus tu. Dia berhenti Intan, dia join company yang putih yang one of the leadership punya school, dan dia bagi lecture sekarang. I see, never waste. Kadang-kadang orang kata, alah boring lah aku. Boring tu is the thing that you think it is. But if you think, hari-hari aku dengar, lama dia dengar, then dia jadi lecturer. Sekarang is own company. Always think positive, orang. That's only thing. Anak student.
Menarik tu always look at the bright side lah.
Yes.
Okay, ada lagi ke? Mana ada sesiapa nak bertanya? Silakan. Okay, kita ada satu soalan daripada Atika Rosli ni. Saya baca lah. Oh, banyak pula dah. Okay, from your experience, boleh tak ceritakan the most remarkable conflict of interest yang paling tuan ingat sepanjang tuan bekerja sebagai project manager atau engineer in JKR, and how you solve them?
Okay, alright, very good question. Conflict of interest ni in all fairness dalam mana-mana pekerjaan kita akan ada lah. Kita ambil dua tiga konteks conflict of interest. Saya ambil contoh satunya bila saya banyak cerita masa saya buat HR dah kot. Okay, bila kita buat HR, kadang-kadang sometimes bila kita jadi JD, ini mechanical engineer but I'm talking about conflict interest secara besarnya. Kalau kata bila jadi jurutera daerah kadang-kadang dalam satu tempat tu, bila kita letak JD tu kata dia asal daripada Tampin. Kita hantar JD pergi Tampin. Dekat Tampin tu lah mak saudara dia jadi kontraktor, pak saudara jadi kontraktor, dia JD. So how do you settle the conflict of interest of you punya kin yang jadi kontraktor dengan you yang jadi ni kan? So actually dalam government, dia ada all those steps and procedures. Dia ada all those guideline ini. And the failure of some of my JD dulu and some of pengarah negeri ni is actually the failure to adhere to the process and procedures. So kalau macam Atika tanya tu, you can see banyak cases di mana pengarah negeri JKR kena tarik dengan BPR, SPRM kan, JD kena kan. Once you sit on a certain post, this conflict of interest ni will always be there. Pasal you have certain authority, certain power. I for one, my own experience sebenarnya, if I want to share my apa ni, I got an incident masa saya tu, saya muda lagi sebenarnya. I was in workshop. A boss from Canggu Mechanical, dia masa tu dia belum dia boss different place, and then I got a boss dekat workshop, which is my current boss. Cerita ni complicated sikit tapi sekejap lah, conflict interest lah. Jadi boss B dekat other place ni minta maklumat daripada tempat I kerja dekat boss A. Tapi cerita dia jangan beritahu bos AI maklumat lah, ceritanya lah kan. But what I did was, whatever thing that you do in your life, you must remember your line of nation. Kalau kata you punya direct boss is your responsibility. No matter what people want or what people do, you must refer to your direct boss. So conflict of interest kadang-kadang kita ni mungkin kita nak favor dengan bos A tadi tu. And so kita ketepikan bos kita yang semasa ni. So those are a few things yang kita kena ada lah. Kalau masa di KP office kan, kata masa di pejabat KPKR lah, dia akan ada banyak juga isu-isu conflict of interest antara preference. A good example, kadang-kadang bila you nak, kita katakan you nakkan staff kan, everybody nak staff yang best. Everybody nak staff yang boleh buat kerja lah. No one want staff ni. Tapi dalam JKR ni, you cannot have, kalau orang semua yang bagus je, yang tak bagus tu siapa tak nak? Manusia ni ada bagus, ada tak bagus kan? So, bila you nak manage konflik antara different pengarah-pengarah level ni, saya rasa the only two actually have one vision in organisation lah. So, please, nombor satu, ikutlah proses prosedur lah. That one will avoid your conflict of interest. Kalau ada polisi, adhere to the policy. And there are policy. There ada SOP, ikut the SOP. So sometimes that will do the thing.
Okay, alright. Itu hopefully menjawab conflict of interest ni biasanya antara orang lah. Kan? Dan berprinsip follow guideline and whatever lah kan. Okay, kita proceed ke soalan seterusnya daripada Ungku Haris. For the engineers in JKR to get promoted. Memang setiap workers tu ada projection to be in the higher position ke? Ataupun actually untuk to be higher position tu depending on performance and patience. But sometimes we work hard but then we still in the same position sebab tak ada chance for us to go further. Ni cerita tentang promotion lah.
Promotion. Okay, thank you Engku. Okay, kalau you tengok at my journey tu, if you look at my journey punya slide tu, at J3, which is the lowest one lah, J3 ni dulu J41. I was stuck at J41 for a good 18 years, 18 tahun. At J41 tu, lama tu sebenarnya tu kan. So, when I get promoted to J48, but then from J48 to JUSA, in a good 12 years. So, in all fairness, dalam mana-mana organisation, promotion is an issue. So, bila kita, that's why one of the reason why I was given the task to do that bahagian dasar semua manusia tu. Because KP at that point of time, he told me, Ramli, I want you to make sure semua JK professional can retire at grade 54. Sebab masa mula saya kerja dulu tu, ada yang retire dekat 41. Anak dia 41, bapa dia 41. That's engineering domain reality lah. But to do that, actually, you need to take charge of your human resource on your own. Jadi sekarang ni di JKR, the thing that I build upon, the data that kita ada, valid until 2020. So even sekarang ni, sampailah ni, most JKR, all JKR people can retire at the grade of 54. Kecuali yang masuk formality A ke yang dah tua kan, they maybe retire at 52. Tapi kalau fresh graduate, tapi valid until 2020 which is this year. So beyond this, the new team kena replan balik, redo balik. Because you cannot remain static organisation. Dia akan tepu. So honestly sekarang ni, kalau you go back to JKR, you might see balik, promotion akan jadi stuck balik. Sebab, yang dah naik 54 tu are very young. Kan? Mungkin dia baru umur 50 tahun, dah naik 54 dah, nak tunggu dia pension 6 tahun. Kalau orang atas tak pension, orang bawah tak boleh naik juga kan. So in all fairness, Engku, actually, the HR of any organization. And you can do it. The trick is you can do it every 5 years. Because kita ikut rancangan Malaysia kelima. Once you take ownership of your HR organization, because kita buat strategic human resource, kita know our core business, then you can play around. Mungkin 5 tahun ni kita fokus ni 5, so kita kena reorg, remodel. Itulah konsep kalau you tengok sekarang ni you collapse. Kalau dalam segi bisnes kita kata mula you diversify, kan macam-macam kita buat pecah-pecah, lepas tu kita consolidate dan kita pecah balik. So every time you ada those kind of business. Sekarang ni promotion is a bit slow lah in all fairness lah. Kalau you get 41 now to go to 44 tu, dulu masa zaman saya tu dah cerita lama tidak, tapi yang masa saya tinggalkan dulu probably dalam 3 to 4 years you can get from 41 to 44, and then mungkin dalam 5 to 7 years you get your 48. Now mungkin dapat 44 pun mungkin dalam 5-6 tahun juga lah. 48 mungkin dalam 10 tahun. Maybe that's it. But I think JKR kena relook balik ada promotion. Satu. Keduanya, if you work for promotion, you will get frustrated. You will get frustrated because you will never be satisfied. I always have this policy principle in me because I came from the private sector. I'm not a civil servant per se. I didn't want to be a civil servant. I was in the private sector, then I forced to join government lah, pasal I'm a scholar. So, forced to join the government, become a scholar kan, scholarship. So, I want to quit on my 10 year of contract after 10 tahun. Sebab tu my last 10 years tu. So, I work hard, I learn hard, 10 years I'm going to quit JKR. Now, bila you bekerja untuk naik pangkat ni, mengharapkan pangkat, you will get a lot of frustration. Now, you work for knowledge. Masa saya bekerja pun sebenarnya, and if you nak tahu keberkatan gaji you ni sebenarnya, you will get frustrated sebab ada orang gaji tinggi bos, tapi tak nak buat kerja pun. Bagi saya, having a boss yang malas is very good for you. Why? Because you work harder than your boss. And then why? Bila you pergi meeting, you grade 41. Tapi orang ingat you grade 48. Dah macam bos lagi dah. You imagine what happened to your rezeki? Rezeki you lagi berbaloi sebenarnya kan. Pasal gaji you 41. Tapi orang ingat you 48. You punya otak you punya mind tu kan. And you, so actually, kalau you fikir short term on promotion, you will get frustrated. Actually bukan di JKR saja. Anywhere you go. But have the mindset of actually, if I get a lousy boss, I can be better. If I get a good boss, you also can be better. Learn from the good boss. So, jangan harap sangatlah. Kalau dalam government, jangan harap sangat naik pangkat. Kalau kata, of course, competency is there. I think, kalau kata yang potong-potong-potong ni, in all fairness, ada jugalah yang kadang high flyer, ada. Sebab tu kalau you tengok carta tadi tu, dia ada high potential dengan high performer. Kita pun ada sistem di mana kita nak dapati siapa yang ada potential. Kadang you ada potential, but you cannot perform. So you have to do both. You ada potential and you can perform. So get all required certification. You ada your IR, lepas tu get your whatever project, get your master. You keep yourself with all the paper knowledge lah. Then if you go into an organization, you have all those backup lah. Memang ada scheme. You to get promoted, you must get your IR, you must get your project management certification, you must get all those kind of things. Memang ada. Those ada dalam most civil service sekarang, dia ada that requirement. So work hard won't kill you. Learn. Okay.
That's the question lah. Okay. We go to the next question daripada Salmi Misha. Assalamualaikum Sir IR Ramli. Boleh ke bagi tips untuk lulus interview JKR?
Amboi, ni kalau manual tip ni kita kena. Okay, in all, saya pun banyak kali juga interview ni kan. Actually, in all fairness, interview ni sama je proses dia. Number one, you must be ready. Don't go for an interview tanpa bersedia. Mana ready ni apa? When you interview people, macam Farhan juga kan, bila kita interview orang, what do you want to know? You want to make sure orang tu tahu organisation tu kan. Dia tahu, dia faham core business JKR. So sebelum pergi interview, malam tu ke bacalah JKR ni buat apa, JKR ni apa ni. At least you know business JKR, you know what is it. Satu. Keduanya, you know what you want to achieve in JKR. Kalau orang tu tanya jadi KPKR, nanti orang pun maknanya actually you can always say actually you know actually JKR buat designer, you want to be the designer, you want to be you able to be design. And of course ketiganya, always make sure kalau you kata you pernah buat, you pernah ni, make sure you tahu benda tu. Contohnya lah katakan macam saya mungkin pernah kerja dengan konsultan kan, saya dulu pernah kerja dengan perunding dan saya pernah buat dia. Make sure benda tu you tahu deep sikit, go deeper. Sebab the trick of the trade is actually interviewer dia akan tanya benda yang you tahu. And bila you tahu dia tanya how deep you tahu. So kita ada what kita call it width of knowledge, how much you know. But if you know certain thing tu you kata you pernah buat, then you go deep. Kalau kata saya pernah design ventilation system untuk then make sure you know that design. Okay. So number one, know the core business organization. Studilah JKR ni bila exist, siapa KP, siapa ni mechanical apa, semua tu study. Itu semua boleh dapat dalam website JKR, semua boleh baca kan. Baca that. Kalau interview mechanical, study buat mechanical. Tahu apa mechanical business, tahu apa dia bidang kepakaran. All those you get to know. So and then what is your expectation? What can you do in JKR? Orang akan tanya selalu, kalau I ambil you apa bagusnya ya? Kenapa I kena ambil you? Always the favorite question. Kenapa I kena ambil, siapa nama tadi Farhan? Siapa yang tanya tadi?
Salmi.
Okay. Dia akan tanya, kenapa I kena ambil you Salmi? Kenapa I tak ambil Farhan? So what is there good about you? You must feel good about yourself. You must know that you have something yang valuable that JKR nak. And then yang tadi tu, with maknanya you tahu multiple knowledge tapi ada knowledge yang spesifik you pernah buat, sell that one. Saya pernah design, saya pernah maintenance, whatever mechanical field lah that you pernah buat kan. Or project management, whatever matter. So those are maybe a few tips lah kalau you nak interview dengan JKR ni. And be firm, okay. Lebih kurang lah kot.
Kau tim lah lebih kurang tu. Alright.
Okay.
Okay, soalan seterusnya daripada Nabilah Ishak. Okay, salam Cik, pernah tak rasa conflicted between developing infrastructures as engineer and have a little guilt because we are inevitably changing the environment? Climate change, deforestation. Ni macam tak tahulah kalau JKR ada kes pembalakan gas, saya pun tak pasti.
Betul. Actually I'm very passionate about environment. Sebab itu my master is build environment. Sebab itu di JKR pun kita ada satu unit cawangan alam sekitar. Pernah mechanical, pernah head the unit. Pengarah dia asalnya mula-mula tu civil, lepas tu mechanical pernah head the unit. Jadi ada satu cawangan alam sekitar. So actually basically cawangan alam sekitar ni yang sebenarnya melihat kepada environment dengan dalam building lah. Sebab itu kalau you tengok the whole asset management punya konsep ni, sebab itu kita kata design with maintainability kan. Maknanya how do you design the building yang senang nak maintain, mudah nak maintain, which is actually part of environmental juga sebenarnya. You don't design something yang tak difficult to maintain. You keep on throwing the building away kan. Building tak boleh nak maintain dan after je. So design with maintainability is one of it. Keduanya the environment ni, kalau you buat hospital kadang-kadang, dia ada beberapa environmental punya guideline. Kalau environmental impact ni ada, dia ada apa kita panggil ni, the EIA punya report, things are all there lah. Now if you talk about civil overdevelopment, memang kalau civil pun ada jugalah. Berapa banyak jalan you nak buat? Tak cukup jalan, buat jalan jam juga kan. So as an technocrat, as an engineering, even di JKR pun, sebab itu alam sekitar ni, one of their role and function is actually to relook balik, do you really need development or do you have an alternative to the development? Kalau you look at my last post dekat bahagian pengurusan aset tu, we were embarking on that data journey. Sebab kita ada banyak bangunan-bangunan yang sebenarnya underutilized, tapi data tidak ada. So basically reuse of old building. Kadang-kadang because kita buat ni, kita ni sorry for saying lah, but kita ni sebenarnya negeri kontraktor kan. Every time kita build kan basically. And we don't maintain. Tapi kalau if you look at every daerah ada rakan muda kompleks, ada dewan serbaguna, all those serve the same function. But because you don't have a data system to capture the usage of the building, the condition of the building, so kita keep on building new one. So if you look at the bahagian pengurusan aset tu, which is the whole those are looking at the new kind of thinking dalam government. Don't keep on building. Maknanya reuse. Komplek-komplek yang ada tu boleh di remodel, reuse. So I think future is in that direction lah. And environmental conflict of course lah. Antara macam kata kita buat jalan, dia nak buat laluan untuk rimau melintas ke. Kalau you look at jalan yang kita ada pergi ke Subat, yang jalan daripada Jengka, ada jalan baru lah, adalah dia buatnya laluan untuk haiwan, untuk gajah punya semua ada. Dulu you langgar je lah. So probably there are some changes in the environmental idea here lah. Okay, adalah.
Alright, okay. Interesting interesting lah. Benda tu kan, kita tak tahu ke depan nanti bila COVID ni dah semua orang dah work from home, lagilah kita perlukan data building utilization ni kan. Menarik. Alright. So kita ke soalan seterusnya daripada Nur Sahira. Assalamualaikum tuan. Is there any specific technical skills or software skills needed as an entry-level engineer in JKR? Or does that depend on the department assigned later? And if we do not have the skill set, will there be any training that we will be sent to? Okay.
Alright, okay. JKR ni masa saya mula-mula masuk dulu pun, masa saya masuk Waybank 85, kita ada training center. Training center kita tu di Ikram lah. Ikram dekat sebelah Kajang tu kan, sebelah Unit 10 tu. That was our training center, Ikram, being bought over by Prioritize. Jadi memang the model dulu, if you join JKR, even at the grade of 41, masa tu J3, you'll be sent for training, kursus. Memang ada kursus. So there are various courses yang sebenarnya kena pergi dulu at one time. You akan pergi technical courses, kalau you are mechanical engineering courses. And then you go to general courses. So sekarang ni kita dah ada training center kita di create, which is dekat Alor Gajah, our new training center. And I believe they are also building along the same model. So all engineers yang masuk JKR ni, they will be trained dalam pelbagai bidang. Satu, you punya core business, which is technical, mechanical. Keduanya is that the soft skill part tu, the project management part. Now the question of what are the soft skill required masa mula join ni, I think nombor satu tu is teamwork basically. The ability for you to work in the team. Because you are never alone when you start working. Only kalau you ada first class honours, kalau you buat research, duduk dekat you punya lab pakai kod seorang, itu je yang kerja seorang. Itu pun kalau you nak jual pun juga. Tapi other than that, you will be meeting people. So how you interact with people, how do you interact with you punya peers. So people around you tu. Pleasing, ability to discuss, to talk kan, ability to absorb other people punya pandangan, not one track mind that you are right all the time, tidak juga sebenarnya. So I think those are the things. Kalau dalam project management macam tadi tu, actually tiga lah: communication, the ability to communicate, the ability for you to transfer your idea clearly, communicate cara yang baik. Dalam project management juga kita panggil empathy kan. Kalau macam tadi tu, kita ada hard skill. Hard skill is actually kalau you go through forms atau borang, arahan, terus kan macam tadi lah. Kalau kata kita kasar, dia buat lah. Dia buat lah depan kita. Bila tak ada, dia lah kan. So kita ada dua, hard skill, soft skill. Soft skill cover the empathy part. Empathy part ni sebenarnya ni kita capture dia punya emotion tu. Bila dia buat, bila kita tak ada pun, alah, aku Farah ni, bos ni bagus lah Farah ni, aku tak sampai hati lah ni, okey lah, buat lah kerja betul-betul. Dulu kita ada dua bos juga sebenarnya kan. Ada bos yang kadang-kadang tu dia very detail, kita buat cincai-cincai, kita bagi kat dia lah. Kita tu bos tu akan tengok balik kan. Ada setengah tu bos tu dia baik yang kita buat lebih kan. Kalau bos tu trust you, you will do more detail. Alah, bos ni tak boleh lah. Jadi kita kena lebih baik. So empathy, the soft skill to empathy, perasaan tu. And how do you manage your people? Soft skills like that. The moment people tahu actually you appreciate their presence, then I think they will understand you punya ni. Okay, so training soft skill ni as you go up the ladder, initially tadi mungkin ada lah yang tadi kan generic mula soft skill sikit dia akan ajar you project management ke apa ke, but as you go along, it is how you develop your own skill. And how do you be the good communicator tu. Ada setengah kita memang tak boleh pun. Mungkin tak boleh tu dan kita akan pilih career path yang sesuai dengan kita. Thank you.
Alright. So mencabar sangat irony lah sekarang ni. dengan teamwork ni, dengan COVID ni, bila masing-masing is very individual kat rumah online seorang-seorang, apa bersama pun online, tapi bila kerja teamwork is something that people look for so mencabar ni. Okey, saya rasa itu saja soalan-soalan yang ada pada malam ni, dah 10.30 dah pun. Terima kasih bagi saya mewakili pihak UniKL lah sendiri dan juga para pelajar kepada guest speaker kita Tuan IR Ramli, walaupun secara lahiriahnya IR tu dah tak ada, IR tu bukan pada title, IR tu di hati lah, insyaAllah. Dan semualah pelajar-pelajar ni engineering engineer tu di hati lah. Okey, insyaAllah itu saja. Sekali lagi terima kasih banyak ya. Dan ada rezeki insyaAllah kita akan jumpa lagi lah dalam sesi-sesi yang akan datang. InsyaAllah doakanlah. And then terima kasih juga kepada pensyarah-pensyarah lain yang sempat hadir pada malam ni, dan juga para pelajar lah, the most important stakeholder daripada sesi-sesi yang kita buat ni, untuk para pelajar ni jadikan panduan lah for the future, for their futures. Okey, saya rasa itu saja. Dengan keadaan COVID yang makin teruk ni, harapnya kita semua dapat jaga SOP, dapat jaga kesihatan, dan sama-samalah kita doakan kesihatan antara sesama kita lah, insyaAllah. So itu saja untuk kita pada malam ni. Sekian, terima kasih. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Okey, terima kasih Farhan. Thank you all. Okay. Dah ya? Kita hang up.
Ya,
thank you.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam. Okey.
Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam.